Good morning, one and all. I welcome you all to Ganesh IAS Academy. In today's session, we'll be seeing environment-based current affairs. Okay, so let us get into the topics one by one. The first topic that we are going to discuss is DANDELI forest. Why is this forest in news, and what are the details we need to understand with respect to this forest? Let us get into the details. DANDELI forest. It is known for its diverse wildlife and ecosystem. So it has diverse wildlife and ecosystem. But now this forest is facing substantial environmental shift because of changing climate patterns and human interventions. These are the two reasons, main reasons. Okay. And where is this forest located? It is located in the Uttara Kannada district of Karnataka. And this is a part of Western Ghats. This is also important. So DANDELI forest is a part of Western Ghats, and this Western Ghats is a globally recognized biodiversity hotspot. We all know that. Okay, so Western Ghats is a biodiversity hotspot which is globally recognized, and this DANDELI forest is a part of Western Ghats. Moreover, there is a tiger reserve, that is Kali Tiger Reserve, which is a protected area adjacent to this forest. Okay, this Kali Tiger Reserve is adjacent to this DANDELI forest, and this tiger reserve, that is Kali Tiger Reserve, it comprises two other important protected areas. What are they? One is this DANDELI Wildlife Sanctuary and the other is Anshi National Park. Both are in Karnataka only. Okay, so these are the details which we need to know with respect to its geography and location. Okay, next is, what are the concerns related to this DANDELI forest ecosystem? First thing is impact of climate change. There is an impact of climate change here. So changing rainfall patterns and rising temperatures. So there is a change in rainfall pattern as well as there is a rise in temperature due to climate change which is affecting this forest. Okay, so it has led to alterations in this forest ecosystem. Moreover, there is an invasive species, that is Eupatorium weed. Okay, Eupatorium weed is an invasive species here. So this species is replacing the native grasses which are already present in the forest. So when the native grasses are replaced, then it will impact the herbivores, because these herbivores are directly dependent on these native grasses. Okay, but then these native grasses are being replaced with these invasive species, that is Eupatorium weed. Okay, and it is not preferred food source. Which is not preferred food source? These Eupatorium weed is not a preferred food source for these herbivores, and it is susceptible to fire also. Okay, it catches fire very soon. That problem is also there, which will cause sustained fire. Okay, so this is not a conducive thing. Next is forest fires and environmental impact. From the previous point, we can say during the British era, okay, during the British era, what did they do? They suppressed the controlled fires, that is slash and burn method was used, and it was a controlled fire, but this was suppressed. But then they introduced this particular Eupatorium weed, which is a non-native species, which has led to uncontrolled fire, forest fire. So from controlled forest fire, now it has become uncontrolled forest fire. This is because of the change made by the British people. Okay, next is the impact of this, I mean the introduction of Eupatorium weed, its impact on the herbivores and predators. How is it going to impact? We already saw that it will not provide sufficient food for the herbivores because the native species are being destroyed and the non-native species is being introduced. Here there is decreased grasses which has impacted herbivore population, which will influence the prey base for the predators. Only when herbivores are good in number, I mean large in number, then it will be a prey base or food base for the predators like leopards and tigers. Okay, so it will result in increased conflicts with humans. So these leopards and tigers, that is predators, will come in conflict with humans because they are not having sufficient herbivore population for them to feed. So they come into the settlements where humans are there. They will come in search of local cattle. Okay, so this is how the problems are linked. Introduction of invasive species, Thus, there is no food for herbivores. Thus, there is no food for predators. Thus, predators come in conflict with humans because they come in search for these local cattle. So, these are the links that you need to know with respect to this particular news article. The topic that we are going to discuss now is Ganges River Dolphins. So, what are these Ganges River Dolphins? Why are they in news? All those details we need to know. So, a recent scientific publication was there, and its title was Rescuing Ganges River Dolphins from Irrigation Canals in Uttar Pradesh 2013 to 2020. This was the study, okay, a scientific publication, and this publication has elucidated the comprehensive endeavors which focuses on the rescue and relocation of these dolphins from where? From precarious situations within the irrigation canals of this Ganga Ghagra basin. Okay, Ghagra is actually a tributary of Ganga. Okay, so what are all the highlights of this report? First thing is they are saying dams and barrages have severely affected the habitat of dolphins. Okay, so how have they affected the habitat? Because they force them to move into irrigation canals where, I mean, in these irrigation canals, they are at the risk of injury and death. Okay, they do not have sufficient water to swim, so thus they are in the risk of injury and death. Okay, and these facts are also important that over 70% of entrapments were reported either post monsoon or during peak winter, while the rest 30% of the dolphins were rescued during the peak summer. Okay, and during the summer seasons the water levels will fall and there will be minimum flow in the river. Okay, so during those seasons also some entrapments were there, I mean rescue operations were there according to this report. So the problem here is dam and barrage construction which forces these animals, that is Ganges River dolphins, into irrigation canals where they are at the risk of injury and even death. Next is Ganges River dolphin. How do we know, I mean, how do we have to understand about the Ganges River dolphin? What are its features? What are the important points that we need to know with respect to exam? Let us understand. So the Ganges River dolphin, it is also known as Tiger of Ganges. Okay, and it was officially discovered in the year 1801. More than that, what is its habitat? The geographical location. So the Ganges River dolphin is historically distributed in the major river systems, that is Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna, Karnafuli and Sanghu. Okay, so this Ganga and Brahmaputra are there in India. Meghna is in Bangladesh and this Karnafuli and Sanghu is in Nepal. So all the three countries, that is India, Nepal and Bangladesh, has these Ganges River dolphins. Next is, according to the recent study, the study which has been made, this Ganga River basin, apart from Ganga River basin, this species is also found in the tributaries of Ganga like Ghagra, Kosi, Gandak, Rup Narayan and Yamuna, and this Chambal is actually a tributary of Yamuna. Okay, so Ghagra, Kosi, Gandak, Chambal, Rup Narayan and Yamuna. In all these tributaries also you can find Ganges River dolphin. Next is, what are the features of this dolphin, Ganges River dolphin? So this can live in fresh water. It can live only in fresh water. That is important. So it is a freshwater animal and it is essentially blind. Okay, this Ganges River dolphin is essentially blind, but they hunt by emitting ultrasonic sounds. So they emit an ultrasonic sound which will fall on the prey and then it will reflect back the sound. Okay, so the sound bounces off from fishes and other prey, thus it will enable them to see an image of their feed. Okay, so this is how they are hunting. So essentially they are blind, one important point. Another thing is they live only in fresh water and they use ultrasonic sound to hunt. Next is, they are frequently found alone or in small groups and generally a mother and calf travel together. So a mother and calf will travel together. Generally it is found alone or in a small group. Next is the males, the females are larger than the males. Okay, and these females will give birth once every 2 to 3 years and only to one calf. Okay, so once in 2 to 3 years they conceive and then they give birth to only one calf. This is also important, and females are larger than male. This is also important. Next is being a mammal. This is a mammal. Okay, this Ganges river dolphin is a mammal. So mammals cannot live completely under the water. Okay, so Ganges river dolphin cannot breathe in water, thus they have to surface every 30 to 120 seconds. Okay, so every 30 to 120 seconds they need to surface for breathing. Okay, because of this phenomenon, that is they coming to the surface for breathing, they make a sound called susu. Okay, so that is the reason why these Ganges river dolphin is also called as susu. Okay, next is, what are the important points that we have to know? That they have a significant importance because it is a reliable indicator of the health of the entire river ecosystem. So it is like an indicator. Okay, their population increase or decrease is like an indicator for the health of the entire ecosystem. Moreover, Government of India has declared that this Ganges river dolphin will be considered as national aquatic animal. And when was this done? It was done in the year 2009. Okay, so Ganges river dolphin is national aquatic animal. Okay, next is, and it is also a state aquatic animal for the state of Assam. This is also important. Next is, what are all the major threats faced by Ganges river dolphin? The first threat is due to unintentional killing. That is through entanglement in the fishing gear. They get entangled in the fishing gear and then they are killed. Next is poaching for dolphin oil. For dolphin oil, these dolphins are actually poached. Okay, and this dolphin oil is used as an fish attractant, and they are also used for some medicinal purposes. It also has some medicinal purposes. It is also a fish attractant. Next is habitat destruction is another problem. So first problem is unintentional killing. Second problem is poaching for the oil, that is dolphin oil. Next is the habitat destruction. How does habitat destruction take place? It is due to developmental projects. That is building, high-rise buildings are being constructed even in coastal areas. Okay, so such problems are there. And then pollution is one main problem. Okay, so industrial waste, pesticides, municipal sewage discharge, and even noise from vessel traffic, this is also there. Okay, so these are the major threats faced by Ganges river dolphin. What is its protection status? Okay, so under IUCN, that is International Union for Conservation of Nature, they are under endangered category. Okay, so they are endangered species. Next is under Indian Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, they are placed under Schedule 1. Okay, next is under Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna, that is CITES Convention, in Appendix 1. Next is under Convention on Migratory Species, that is CMS, they are placed in Appendix 1 again. Okay, so why are they under this Migratory Species Convention? Because they migrate from one river system to another river system. They go from Ganges river system to Brahmaputra river system, from Brahmaputra to Meghna. Okay, likewise they will be moving here and there. That is why they are even conserved under Migratory Species Convention. Okay, next is, what are all the government initiatives taken to conserve this dolphin? First thing is, we have Project Dolphin, which is similar to other projects like Project Rhino, Project Tiger and other things, Project Leopard and other things. Okay, and there is a wildlife sanctuary, that is Vikramshila Ganges Dolphin Sanctuary, which was established in Bihar. Okay, so where is this Vikramshila Ganges Wildlife Sanctuary? It is there in Ganges Dolphin Sanctuary, it is there in Bihar. Next is, there is National Ganga River Dolphin Day. which is observed on 5th October every year. Okay, so these are all the points which we need to know with respect to this article. The topic that we are going to discuss now is coral reef breakthrough. What is this coral reef breakthrough? Let us understand, and who has initiated this or who has launched this program? Let us understand the details. So, International Coral Reef Initiative, that is ICRI, it has launched this Coral Reef Breakthrough Initiative. Okay, and this was done in partnership with two other organizations, that is Global Fund for Coral Reefs and yet another champions, that is High Level Climate Champions. Let us understand about each of these organizations and bodies in detail in the upcoming slides. But for now, this International Coral Reef Initiative has launched this Coral Reef Breakthrough. So now we need to understand what is this Coral Reef Breakthrough. Okay, it is a science-based initiative. So it is a science-based initiative and it has some clear goals. For whom these goals are? It is for the state and non-state actors collectively. Okay, so they have to collectively conserve, protect and restore coral reefs. These are the objectives that are put before, the goals that are put before the state and non-state actors. What are the goals? To collectively conserve, protect and restore coral reefs. And why is this done? It is to safeguard the vital contributions to humans' future. Whose vital contribution? The coral reef's vital contribution to human future. Okay, this is the objective. Next is the Coral Reef Breakthrough aims to secure the future of at least 1,25,000 kilometers of shallow water in the tropical coral reefs. Okay, so 1,25,000 kilometers squared or square kilometer of shallow water tropical coral reefs will be conserved with the investment of at least 12 billion US dollars. So there will be an investment of 12 billion US dollars to support the resilience of more than 500 million people globally by 2030. So Coral Reef Breakthrough is directly related to the resilience of human beings. Okay, it is helping human beings and the target year is 2030. All these details we need to know with respect to Coral Reef Breakthrough. Next is, what are all the conservation strategies that we have? First thing is to mitigate local drivers of loss. There will be local drivers of coral reef loss. What are they? One is land-based sources of pollution. Land-based sources of pollution. First thing. Next is destructive coastal development. That is infrastructure projects which is done in the coastal areas. And the first point is land-based sources of pollution like sewage runoff into the oceans. Okay, and then overfishing is another problem which is faced by it, and all these problems will be mitigated. That is the first strategy. The second one is double the area of coral reef under effective protection. What are they going to do? They are planning to align with the global coastal protection targets like 30 by 30. What is this 30 by 30? It is actually a global initiative to protect at least 30% of the Earth's land and ocean areas by 2030. That is 30 by 30. Protecting at least 30% of the Earth's land as well as coastal areas by the year 2030. Okay, and this was proposed during the Conference of Parties of UNCCD in the year, the 15th Conference of Parties. During that time it was proposed. And what is UNCCD here? UNCCD is United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. Okay, so during the Conference of Parties of this convention, that is COP15, this initiative was put forth. Okay, 30 by 30, and the strategy here is to align with these targets. Next is meeting the targets of this global breakthrough will be instrumental in achieving the sustainable development goals. Okay, we have this sustainable development goals, that is 17 goals are there. Okay, of these 17 goals, the 14th goal here is life below water. So sustainable development goal 14 is life below water. So we need to take more conservation efforts to address the problems of the life below water. Here coral reef is obviously a life below water, so we need to take conservation efforts to protect it. Okay, so these are the points which we need to know. Next is the three bodies which are involved in the launch of this coral reef breakthrough. First body or the first organization here is International Coral Reef Initiative. What is this initiative? It is a global partnership between United Nations and organizations which strive to preserve coral reef and related ecosystems around the world. Okay, so it is partnership between the nations and organizations which strive to preserve coral reefs and related ecosystems around the world. Next is, the initiative was founded in the year 1994 by 8 governments. What are the 8 governments here? It is Australia, France, Japan, Jamaica, Philippines, Sweden, United Kingdom and United States of America. These are the 8 countries which together founded this International Coral Reef Initiative. And when was this done? It was announced at the first conference of parties, COP, of Convention on Biological Diversity, that is CBD, in the year 1994. Okay, and at present this ICRI, that is International Coral Reef Initiative, has 101 members, and of these 101 members, 45 are countries and the rest are other organizations. So we have seen here itself that it comprises both nations and other organizations. So this 101 includes both nations and organizations. Okay, of that 101, 45 are nations, countries. Okay, and India is one of them, which is again important. Okay, what other bodies are related to this initiative, this breakthrough, that is coral reef breakthrough? One is high level climate champions. So they are appointed by United Nations. These high level climate champions are appointed by United Nations for what? To facilitate and enhance the engagement of non-state actors. This is important here. So they are going to engage non-state actors like businesses, cities, regions and investors. And how are they going to be integrated? For what purpose? For supporting the goals of the Paris Agreement on climate change, that is 2015 agreement, Paris Agreement on climate change. Next is the Global Fund for Coral Reef. This is yet another organization which is involved in this process, in this breakthrough. That is, it is a blended finance instrument to mobilize action and resources. So it mobilizes both action, that is initiatives, and resources to protect and restore the coral reef ecosystem. So these are the 3 bodies which are involved in this Coral Reef Breakthrough Initiative. So all these details we need to understand. The topic that we are going to discuss now is declining amphibian population. So what are amphibians? Why is its population declining? All these details let us understand one by one. So there is a recent study which is titled Ongoing Declines for the World's Amphibians in the Face of Emerging Threats. This is the title, and this was published in the Nature journal, which reveals significant threats to amphibians worldwide, particularly from climate change. So climate change is being a big problem here for amphibians. How is it going to affect amphibians? Let us understand. And this study is based on the second global amphibian assessment, which was coordinated by this body, that is Amphibian Red List Authority. And this Amphibian Red List Authority is actually a branch of Amphibian Specialist Group of IUCN Species Survival Commission. So IUCN has this Species Survival Commission, and the Amphibian Specialist Group of this commission is one branch here. Okay, so this Amphibian Red List Authority is a branch of this specialist group here. So this is how it is linked, okay? And the assessment evaluated the extinction risk of more than 8,000 amphibian species from all over world, and then it includes 2,286 species evaluated for the first time. So of these 8,000 species, these many species, that is 2,286 species, were evaluated for the first time. Next is, what are all the highlights of this particular study? One is extinction risk, okay? So 2 out of every 5 amphibian species are threatened with extinction. This is important, okay? So 2 out of 5 amphibian species are threatened with extinction, and this point is very important. That is 40.7% of amphibian species are being globally threatened, which is highest of any other species. So when we make a comparison here with mammals, reptiles and birds, for mammals it is just 26.5%. We can't say just, but it is comparatively it is lesser, okay? So 26.5% threatened among mammals, and 21.4% of reptiles are threatened, and 12.9% of birds are threatened, whereas 40.7% of amphibian species are threatened, which is alarming, okay? Next is, between these 2 years, that is 2004 and 2022, over 300 amphibian species have moved closer to extinction, which is very important, with climate change identified as the primary threat for 39% of these species. So of these 300 species, 39% of the species are facing threat, I mean they are facing endangerment just because of climate change, okay? And amphibians are particularly sensitive to environmental changes, which makes them vulnerable to effects of climate change. So even if there is a slightest environmental change, then it will get reflected in the decline in population of this amphibians, okay? Next is, amphibians gone extinct. There are 4 species of amphibians which has gone extinct, okay? So 4 amphibian species were documented as having gone extinct since the year 2004. What are they? It is Chirky harlequin toad. So it is a toad variety which is from Costa Rica. Next is the sharp-snouted day frog, which is from Australia, and 2 other species from Guatemala. They are Crowgaster milomilon and Jalpa false-brook salamander. This salamander are nothing but lizard-like amphibians, okay? So they look like lizard and they will be having long tail, and then their limbs will be very short, okay? So it is lizard-like amphibian, salamander. Next is, there is a greatest concentration of threatened amphibians in some areas. What are the areas? That is Caribbean islands, Mexico, Central America and tropical Andes region, and in India it is the Western Ghats region. This is important, okay? So in India it is the Western Ghats area, and also in Sri Lanka, Cameroon, Nigeria and Madagascar. In all these areas there is greatest concentration of threatened species of amphibians, okay? Next is, these are the 4 amphibians that has gone extinct, okay? So this is that salamander which looks like a lizard, but actually it is an amphibian, okay? This is the toad which we talked about, and these 2 are the frog species, okay? Next is, what are all the human impacts? How are humans causing a problem to amphibians? First thing is habitat destruction. So whenever humans has a role to play, then obviously they will do habitat destruction. That is what the main contribution by human beings to the threat of other organisms, okay? So habitat destruction and degradation because of the activities such as agriculture, infrastructure development and even other industrial activities, which remain the most common threat to amphibians, that affect 93% of the threatened species, which is alarming, okay? Next is, there are also problems like disease and overexploitation among amphibians. There is a disease caused by a fungus called chytrid, okay? Chytrid fungus. So this may be asked as a question, what is this chytrid function and in which species does it cause a disease? That is amphibian species, okay? And there is also overexploitation which continue to contribute to amphibian decline, okay? So there is human impact and there is also disease and overexploitation among the amphibian population. Next is, there is a threat for these salamanders. These salamanders are at greater threat when compared to other amphibians. Okay, so 3 out of every 5 salamander species are threatened with extinction. There in general we saw 2 out of 5, but here with respect to salamander it is 3 out of 5. Okay, which is more. Okay, primarily due to habitat destruction and climate change. This habitat destruction is due to human effect, and climate change is natural effect. Okay, and salamanders are identified as the world's most threatened group of amphibians. Statements like these are very important from exam point of view. Next is, amphibians first appeared more than 300 million years ago, and at present there are 3 orders of amphibians. What are they? First is salamanders and newts. They come first, and of these salamanders and newts, 60% are threatened with extinction. And then comes the second one, that is frogs and toads, and of these 39% are threatened with extinction. And then comes limbless serpentine Sicilians, and they of them 16% are threatened with extinction. All these details we need to know. So there are 3 orders. One is salamanders and newts, frogs and toads, and limbless and serpentine Sicilians. These are the amphibians. Next, we were talking about amphibians a lot, but what amphibians are, that we need to understand. So these amphibians fall under the phylum of Chordata. So they fall under the phylum Chordata. Information like this is also important. These are basic biology concepts which you need to know in detail. So they fall under the phylum Chordata of the kingdom of Animalia. Obviously they are animals, and then it includes frogs, toads, salamanders, newts, and even Sicilians. Okay, and these are multicellular vertebrate organisms which live in both land and water. They live in both land and water. That is what the special feature of amphibians. Amphibians means which lives both in water and land. Next is, they are the first cold-blooded animals which have appeared in the earth. Okay, which appeared on land. Okay, so they are the first cold-blooded animals. So what are cold-blooded animals? Those animals can be defined as which cannot regulate their internal body temperature with change in the environment. That is, they won't maintain homeostasis. There is this concept called homeostasis. What is homeostasis? That is maintaining internal environment. Okay, or internal body temperature is maintained. We human beings maintain homeostasis. We are homeostatic animals, that is regulators. Okay, but these animals are conformers. Okay, so they do not maintain internal body temperature with change in environment. So when there is change in environment, they will obviously affect their internal body temperature. Next is, they respire through lungs and skin. This is important. Okay, so they respire through lungs and skin, unlike fishes which respire through their gills. Okay, and they have 3-chambered heart. This is also an important fact which we need to know. They have 3-chambered heart. Next is significance. What is its significance? From ecological perspective, these amphibians are regarded as vital ecological indicators. So these amphibians are vital ecological indicators, and due to a high degree of sensitivity, they are studied and indicate habitat fragmentation, ecosystem stress, and impact of pesticides and various other anthropogenic activities. So these are being reflected. Okay, next, they are important biological indicators also. So they are ecological indicators as well as biological indicators, and they are important for wider health of the ecosystem. Okay, so these are the significance of amphibian species, and they play a significant role in both. They play a significant role both as predator as well as prey. Okay, so when they serve as a predator and they also be a prey, then they have an important role in the ecosystem to play. Okay, so these amphibians eat pest. While eating pest, they are predators, and they will also become prey for some other higher predators like snakes. Okay, next is, these amphibians eat pest. How is this thing going to be beneficial to human beings? Because it is beneficial for agriculture. Okay, and they will control in disease. They will control diseases like malaria, and even other diseases which are spread through insects. Okay. Next is amphibians are important from the medicinal point of view also. This is one important point. So the skin of amphibians contain different types of peptides, okay, proteins, which offer the possibility of medicinal cure for several human diseases. So the skin of amphibians has certain different types of peptides which will be a medicine for human beings, and at present they are also used in some painkillers. All these points are important. These are the significance of amphibians. Okay. Yes. The topic that we are going to discuss now is Dole. What is this Dole? It is actually a dog species, okay? Asiatic wild dog. Why is it in news, and with what animal it is compared or it is competing? Let us understand everything. So a recent study, that is the title of the study is, do doles segregate themselves from their sympatriots? What are sympatriots? Those animals which live in the same geographical area. Okay, so they live in the same region, but then they compete with each other for their food. Okay, such animals are called as sympatriots. Habitat use and carnivore coexistence in tropical forests. This is the title of this study. And what does the study say and where was it conducted? This study was conducted in Assam's Manas National Park. Okay, we'll study about this Manas National Park in the upcoming slides. Okay, and this study has revealed a surprising positive relationship. Earlier it was thought thus that these doles will be having a competitive relationship with other carnivore animal there, but then they are having a positive relationship with other animals. That is, doles are having positive relationship with tigers. Okay, this has challenged the previous assumption of antagonistic interactions between these two animals. Okay, earlier they thought that these two animals were enemies, but then they are saying that there is a positive relationship. Why is there a positive relationship? This relationship may be attributed to overlapping prey availability and habitat suitability. So they have a suitable habitat and there is also overlap prey availability. That is the reason why they are having this positive relationship, which suggests a more complex ecological dynamic. Habitat suitability is there, that is why they both are living in that particular geographical location. They also have prey availability there, that is why they are at that location. But then they are not having a conflicting relationship, but then they have a positive association. Thus, it is considered to be a unique ecological dynamic or a complex ecological dynamic, and prompting the need for future research. We need to understand it better for us to conclude something very substantial. Okay, so the research found that the activity of doles had the highest temporal overlap with leopards. So temporally, that is with respect to time when we consider, then the activity of doles are in highest overlap with leopards, but with lowest overlap with clouded leopards. Okay, these two are two different species of leopards. Okay, next, this study highlights the Manas National Park's conservation significance as dole population, but it faces fragmentation due to habitat loss, declining prey availability, persecution, disease, competition with other species. Okay, this competition with other species is sympatric composition. Okay, I mean competition. Next is, what are doles? We have to understand this in detail, and we must have to understand about the national park in which this study was conducted, that is Manas National Park. Okay, so dole, it is wild carnivorous animal. Yes, it is a carnivorous animal and it is a member of the family Canidae. So all dogs will be categorized under this family Canidae. Okay, and it is a mammalia. Okay, it is a mammal. Next is, what is its habitat? It is historically widespread across southern Russia to Southeast Asia and now mainly found in South and Southeast Asia. Okay, and there are also northern populations of these dholes in China. Okay, when we talk about India, then they are clustered in western and eastern Ghats, also in central India, as well as in northeast India, where the study was conducted, that is in Manas National Park of Assam. And here there are three states which has taken conservation efforts for these dholes, that is Karnataka, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. They play a crucial role in the conservation of these dholes according to this study of 2020. Next is, what is its conservation status? First thing is, under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, it is placed under the category Schedule 2, okay, under Schedule 2. Next is, under IUCN, it is endangered species. And then under CITES, it is kept under Appendix 2. All these details are important. More than that, creation of reserves under Project Tiger has provided some protection for these dhole populations sympatric with tigers. So the conservation efforts taken for tiger is actually helping these dhole species of Asiatic wild dogs also. Next, in the year 2014, the Indian government has sanctioned its first dhole conservation breeding center, where Indira Gandhi Zoological Park in Visakhapatnam. Here there is a breeding center of this dhole conservation, okay, for dhole conservation. Next is, we mentioned about this Manas National Park. What is this national park? Where is it located? Let us understand. It is a national park. It is a Project Tiger Reserve, which means it is a tiger reserve, and then it is also an elephant reserve. More than that, it is a biosphere reserve in Assam. So this is very important. So it is a national park, it is a tiger reserve, it is an elephant reserve, and it is a biosphere reserve. Very important. Okay, only few protected areas will be having all these titles. Okay, next is, it borders the Royal Manas National Park, which is in Bhutan. Okay, so there is Royal Manas National Park in Bhutan and Manas National Park in Assam. Okay, next it was declared as national park in the year 1990, and it earned the badge of UNESCO World Heritage Site in the year 1998, which is again 1988. Okay, which is again important. So it is also UNESCO World Heritage Site. We'll be calling it as MAP sites, Man and Biodiversity Program. Okay, and this park, this national park is home to variety of species of fauna like one-horned rhinos. Next is Asiatic elephants, tigers, clouded leopards, and hoolock gibbon. Okay, when it is a tiger reserve, obviously tigers will be there. It is an elephant reserve, thus Asiatic elephants will be there in large number. And then since it is near this Kaziranga National Park, it is also having this population of one-horned rhinos, and yet another animal species here is hoolock gibbon, and leopards are also there in this national park. So these are the details which we need to know about this dhole species. And here in this national park, the study was conducted. Thus, we saw details about the national park also. Okay. So with this, we have come to end of today's session. I hope you found the session to be very useful and informative. Let us see in the next session. Thank you.